Welcome to Environment Science class. Dear students, today's topic is phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus cycle is a type of biogeochemical cycle. So today we are going to learn how phosphorus cycling is done. Although phosphorus cycling is a slow process, we are going to learn about this. What are the different procedures, different process that is involved in the cycling of the phosphorus. So phosphorus is a essential component of all the living being cells, because our body, living beings, the body of the living beings is made up of the cells, and it is the essential component of all the living cells. So in the human bones, in the animal bones, it is the essential components. So and in our nature, in our surrounding, we can see the sedimentary rocks, hard sedimentary rocks, that are all composed of phosphorus. Although phosphorus is present in the high amount in the atmosphere, in our surrounding, but sometimes it becomes inaccessible to the living beings like animals and other organisms. So although it is present in the high amount, so generally it is locked in the sedimentary rocks or at the sea bottom, so which is inaccessible to the living organism. So today we are going to learn about what are these processes. So in the figure you can see, so for phosphate is in the soil. So from the soil the plant used to extract the phosphorus from the soil. Then they do the photosynthesis. In the photosynthesis they utilize the minerals that is extracted from the soil. So different bacteria play an important role in this process, because plant alone cannot extract the phosphorus from the soil. So different types of bacteria, microflora, they play an important role in this. And there are the different processes like because phosphorus is the main component of the sedimentary rocks, but from the sedimentary rocks plants cannot extract the phosphate or phosphorus in any forms. So plant can utilize the phosphorus in the solubilized form. So how the phosphorus, how we can extract the phosphorus from the rocks? So there is one process, weathering of phosphate from the rocks. So weathering is done in the nature, it is automatically happen. Although this is a slow process, it is done with the help of bacteria. It needs some moisture and it needs the weathering process. So that is very slow process. Sometimes there is a geological uplifting, so it can become available, and this is the part of the rocks. So sometimes it can be available, and it is a part of the ocean also. In the ocean, generally the phosphate is settled down at the bottom. So from where it is inaccessible to the animals. So at the sea bottom in the figure you can see phosphate is in the solution also. So aquatic animals can utilize, like fishes and all the aquatic animals, they can utilize the phosphorus present at the sea bottom. And there is one process that is called geological uplifting. It can be available because a cycling is done. Aquatic animals use the phosphorus from the sea bottom, so it can come to the upper layer due to the weathering process and during the different process that happens that takes place in the environment. And there is a rainfall also. So there is a different types of process. It can be mixed with the water, sea water. So from where the animal and aquatic animal can take up the phosphorus, and human feed on the aquatic animals and different animals. So means larger animal feed on the smaller animals. So in that way it is recycled. But generally the high amount of phosphorus is get locked in the sedimentary rocks or at the sea bottom, because phosphorus is present in the high amount but it is not available to the animals or wherever it is needed. And there is one process that is called runoff. Sometimes during the rainfall, phosphorus can be washed. The phosphorus layer can be washed. Okay, so that causes loss to the loss of phosphorus from the soil. Phosphorus forms a part of the phospholipid in the cell membranes. So as you may have seen the structure of the cell membranes, it is an important part and it plays an important role in the transportation process also. It makes up the backbone of DNA and RNA along with sugar. So these are the important component of the cells, and it is also available in the form of adenosine triphosphate energy. ATP provides the energy to the cell. Animal excrete the phosphorus. So this is the process of cycling. Decomposers release phosphorus from decaying plants and animals, returning the phosphorus to the soil, so where it can be taken up by the plants. So it happens after the decomposition. So who is involved in the decomposition? Decomposers. Decomposers should be there. The bacteria should be there. Microflora should be there, so that the plant can consume that. Plant can utilize the phosphorus present in the soil. After that, the animal consumed that phosphorus from the plant. So this completes the cycle. In the figure we can see so this figure explains the recycling process, how recycling and cycling is done. So here you can see phosphorus is present in the soil, from where the leaching is done, the bioleaching, this is done by the bacteria. So bacteria, we need the bacteria. In the nature, bacteria decompose this. Bacteria involved in this process, in the leaching process. Okay, so there is an insoluble phosphate that cannot be available to the plants. So plant can utilize the phosphorus from the organic matter. If there is a decomposition of the organic matter, then plant can take up the phosphorus. So phosphorus is also excreted by the animals, that is also decomposed by the bacteria. Sometimes it is in the form of it is in the soil, but during the rainfall it can be washed. That layer can be washed. So that is a loss of phosphorus. Weathering of phosphate rocks is done, but this is very slow process, and all the human, they use the chemical fertilizer to fulfill the need of the phosphorus, because after the loss the amount of phosphorus is very low in the soil. Generally it is locked in the rocks, and weathering of rock is very slow process. Once it enters into the sedimentary rocks, then it becomes unavailable to the animals. So this is the whole process. Generally the bacteria ensure the availability of phosphorus after the decomposition of the organic matter, because phosphorus is the part of organic matter like bones and sedimentary, and phosphorus is also the part of sedimentary rocks. So this is the same process that is explained here. Sedimentary part of the cycle takes place in geological time, because it takes longer time. So the phosphorus in the ocean accumulates in sediment to become rocks. It will be unavailable there. So those rocks may be uplifted and release phosphorus due to weathering, reintroducing phosphorus to the local ecosystem. So there is a uplifting of the rocks, and phosphorus can be released due to the weathering process, because season change, so there is the changes in the temperature, pressure. So in that way the phosphorus can be introduced into the local ecosystem, so it will be beneficial, it complete the process. But what happen, however, on human time scale, once phosphorus enters the sedimentary part of the cycle, it is essential loss to the organism. Because in our life what we see, there is slow degradation. So generally the human and animal population, they lack the phosphorus in their body, so that's why they have the weak bone structures, because this is the essential component. Phosphorus is the essential component of structure of our structure. Phosphorus in the soil occur as phosphate. So bioleaching is done by the bacteria and rain. So during the rainfall it happens. It may also flow into the groundwater, that increase the erosion of a stream bank, can also result in increased phosphate loss. So when phosphate accumulate in the lake, river and the ocean, algal blooms and red tides occur. So you may have seen the algal blooms in the pond. There is a greenish layer that is spread around all over the surface of water, and due to the presence of algal bloom, the fishes and aquatic animals cannot take up the proper oxygen from the water. That is due to the presence of algal bloom. So this becomes the problem of that system, that pond ecosystem, because of the rich ecosystem. So that is a layer, so where the phosphate is present in the high amount, and other minerals that are present in the high amount, but the fishes need the oxygen also. So that phosphate accumulate in the lakes and river and ocean, because the pond is the example of a static water ecosystem, that is not the free flowing water ecosystem where the phosphorus can be available to the other communities or the other ecosystems. So there should be the balance in the cycling of the phosphorus. So sometimes this process is interrupted by the human activities. We do some kind of activities, so this process become slow. Sometimes we use the chemicals that is harmful to the bacteria, those who involved in the bioleaching process or remineralization process. Okay, so bacteria play an important role in the decomposition process. So decomposition, the full decomposition of organic matter is essential for the proper cycling of the phosphorus. So we should not do the activities that is harmful for the bacterial population or microflora. We should take care of environment in the way so that the recycling and cycling of the phosphorus is done in the proper way. Because whenever we use the chemical for cleaning process for anything, then we are destroying our essential microflora and bacterial population that play an important role in the decomposition. So decomposers are important, bacteria, fungi, that all are important to our nature because they play an important role in the cycling of the minerals. So generally the plant lacks the phosphorus in the soil, because in the soil it is present in very low amount, and plant are not able to utilize the phosphorus, and that is because our soil lack the phosphorus, and whatever phosphorus is available in the soil, plant used to extract that soil in the presence of bacteria. That phosphorus is utilized by the human, because human or consumers depend on the producers. So in that way it is recycled. But generally the vegetarian food lack the presence of phosphorus, the required amount of the phosphorus. So generally the animal population or all the humans and consumers, they are dependent on the non-vegetarian food, animal food, for this requirement, to fulfill the requirement. In the aquatic ecosystem, there are human and animals, all the animals, the bigger animals, they used to take their food from the aquatic systems. Like the human dependent on the fish, so they used to eat the different kinds of aquatic animals to fulfill the requirement of phosphorus. So that is the problem. So we can ensure the availability of phosphorus in the soil, okay, by helping in running of this cycle. So we should not do the activities that is harmful, that may become harmful, and in the cycling of the phosphorus or any minerals. So we should work in the way so that the minerals and any element can be recycled, because bacteria and microflora and play an important role. We should take care of our environment in the way so that the cycling is done in the proper way. Because we have already discussed about the phosphorus cycle in the previous lectures also, so now it is sufficient. So from this figure it is clear. Now the lecture is over.